In this video, I'm going to share with you how I created and wrote a Year 9 Digital Technologies program based on the Australian curriculum. So the first thing I did was went to the Australian curriculum and had a look at the band for Years 9 and 10. First thing you need to do is to read the achievement standard and get a good understanding of what is expected of students over this band. The next step I did was I looked at the content descriptors for Year 9 and 10. When you look at the content descriptors, it's a good idea to have a look at the elaborations, which will give you a further and a deeper understanding of what it's actually asking of you. The next thing I needed to do then was to consider that Year 10 Digital Technologies curriculum spans over 2 semesters, a whole year period. The Year 9 Digital Technologies curriculum, on the other hand, is based on a semester. So I have a group of students for semester 1, and then they switch with another group of students for semester 2. So when you're looking at sorting out which content descriptors will be suitable for which year level, time needs to be taken into consideration from a semester compared to a whole year program. So then I tried to work out which content descriptors go together and which ones could form units of work. I also had to work with the Year 10 teacher to see what she was actually doing currently and which content descriptors fitted her program and which ones I needed to work on with the Year 9s. So you can see here I have a table, and basically for Year 9 I have 3 topics, 2 main topics and a subtopic. So the first topic is looking at understanding issues. These are real-world problems with digital technologies, and how can students create solutions or possible solutions for these problems. That's what it's looking at. Then I looked at creating a multimedia product. So using their understanding of the real-world problem and their possible solutions, how can they create a multimedia product to convey their message? And the last part of the program for Year 9 was looking at some programming. With the Year 10, I've broken it up into different areas. They look at documentation and backups, data compression, encryption, understanding how computers work and understanding mobile devices and wireless networks, and of course programming as well. But the programming in Year 10 extends beyond that of Year 9 because they're looking at the implementation of modular programs and applying selected algorithms and data structures, looking at object-oriented programming language. So the next stage, I set about creating and writing the program using an online platform called SharePoint. Now, you may be working with another platform, that is fine, or even a Word document, but I like to plan my resources online. So the first part here I looked at was understanding issues. So here we're looking at real-world problems about digital technologies and how it affects people, and students evaluating critically solutions or possible solutions on how to solve or how some of the problems might be solved. So first of all, I'll start off by looking at ourselves. Are we consumers or creators? I mean, kids are told that they are consumers. They sit in front of the TV for hours after hour consuming. What is students' opinion? What do they actually think? Get them to discuss in small groups. Then looking at the way we work. Now, digital technology has made it possible for anyone to offer goods and services over the internet using computers and GPS. For example, look at Uber or Amazon. So getting students to brainstorm a list of online resources which they access. Then have a discussion about the way we shop. Now, Amazon is an appropriate one at the moment, having taken into consideration the recent move to Australia. So there is a video here. I've got to look at the students investigating how Amazon and having a look at our online purchases. Now, a great activity for students is what's called a flat chat. So basically, students are put in groups. Each group has an A3 piece of paper and a different colour marker. And for this activity, each group writes what makes Amazon a successful company. And then in groups, students brainstorm different ideas of what makes Amazon a successful company. Then after a period of time, the teacher calls swap, and students give their A3 sheet to the following group. And they need to read what others have written first, and then add extras. Because students have different colour markers, you can keep track of what was already written and what students have added. So it's a great activity for collaboration. Then having a look at, well, where do computers go when they die? Have a discussion with your students about how many mobile devices they have. What do they do with their phone when they get a new phone? Most of them probably won't know. What happens to old computers? There is a great video here which I found on YouTube which looks at e-waste in Pakistan and looks at the effects that it has on the individuals and the community and also in the environment. Lots of good rich discussion you can have here about what are the problems. Are all stakeholders equally aware of the benefits and or of the problems? Then I would allow students to be in groups and research for about 20 minutes how e-waste is disposed of in Australia. Each group then presents to the class with a 5-minute presentation. It'd be a good idea too, also, if you could actually get some of your students to interview your school ICT department. I mean, we have a one-to-one laptop program, but what happens when students have finished with their device in 3 years? If they didn't purchase it outright, where does it go? What does the school do with it? What about the desktop computers at school? What happens when they're upgraded? Or the interactive smartboards or TVs? What do they do with them once they're being replaced? Allow students time to formulate the questions and actually go and visit and talk to members of IT at your school. This next activity looks at the functional and environmental issues with digital technology. Now, I'm not acknowledging the source here. This came from Digital Technologies for the Australian Curriculum, a project approach for years 9 to 10, which is available online and a fantastic resource. So first of all, get students to think about what technologies might solve one day. Then I'd get students to download the document. And have a look at these different issues and ask groups to arrange them from which is the most likely, which technology will help, to the least likely. Then give students time to have the individual vote. So I recommend that teachers create an Excel document, something which looks like this. You see here it's a simple spreadsheet where we have the different issues down the side, and students can choose, okay, they can give it 21 points. If they think that air pollution is likely to be solved by technology the most, they'll give it 21 votes. Down to the least likely, for example, homelessness, and they would give it 1 vote. Then it's easy to create a pie graph and get a class set of what your students actually think technology might be able to solve. Then there is a PDF document here, which was based on some research, and this is what problems can technology solve based on the survey which they conducted. The next part I want to explore are some of the ethical issues Okay, now ethics are standards or moral principles that guide people or organisations in what is our right behaviour. So you can have a look at code of conduct, privacy. Here I've just created a simple Kahoot based on some research and getting students' opinions. So are they aware of how much screen time students have, the privacy settings, how often students share their passwords, and so forth. Then I have a click view video here on protecting your online reputation and identity. If you don't have click view, there are lots of videos you can access from YouTube. Activity here, which I've got here, is having a look at this scenario of a social network. So groups would actually, the class would actually download this document here and read the scenario. So basically this is about Tanya, and she's a Facebook account, okay? Her parents have strict times of when she should access it. She rarely logs on to her account. However, she was very surprised when she was called into the principal's office and told that not only was she being kicked off the soccer team, but she was facing possible suspension due to inappropriate and illegal content posted on her Facebook. That's when she learned that her friend Jessica had posted a picture on Tanya's profile that showed Tanya at a party playing what looked like to be a drinking game and drinking out of a party cup. So basically, she has her account and her friends have uploaded pictures on there. So using that scenario, divide the class into two groups for a debating challenge. One group needs to formulate arguments that the school was justified in punishing Tanya, and the other group needs to formulate arguments that the school was not justified. Each group takes it in turns of presenting what they thought. So this is my favourite video of all time for cyber safety, especially for students posting inappropriate images or pictures or sharing online. It's called Consequences. Then what I'll do is put students into small groups, or it can be an individual task because not all students like to work together. Ask students to choose a media platform which they currently use. Ask them to review the use, the terms of use and the policies. And how does a social media network support the protection of individuals, or how might it not? Another issue to have a look at is students' digital footprint. Again, I've used a ClickView resource here, Staying Safe Online, Digital Footprints and You. Now, others can find out more about you than you actually might imagine. You can invite students to Google the teacher. If you don't feel comfortable with that, I say to my students, Google JVillis. I don't mind, so students could Google me and see what they can find, images, text and so forth. And I get students to really think about, what are the things that they have posted online? Is it private? Is it shared? Allow discussion in small groups. Then moving on to copyright and Creative Commons. Again here I've got another clip view on understanding intellectual property. Loads of resources there on YouTube. Then looking at Creative Commons, which is a way which allows creators of works to share their work with others. Formulate a group discussion. Consider the benefits of copyright and Creative Commons. Are all stakeholders equally aware of copyright and Creative Commons? Do we all agree by them? Do we abide by them? Why? Why not? Then looking at royalty-free images, and I like to give students a range of different royalty-free resources. So here are a list of websites which I recommend for students for accessing royalty-free images, and over the side here of accessing royalty-free music, because students just don't realise just because it's there, they can't just take it.